Hello, today I'll bring you my little experience with Lectron carbs. So this is Lectron. Right, so I just, I've already previously removed one of the Allen screws to make it easy to get apart. So here is the all-important metering rod, and as you can see it is ground flat on the side that faces the engine, and that is obviously the most important aspect, that everything up to half throttle is based on this metering rod. It has slightly less effect half to full throttle because it has a power jet, which you can see it's halfway through the bore. So that is your main fuel circuit, half throttle to full throttle. On this, they provide a special little tool that has a flat on it that goes in, and adjustments are made by turning it, whether it's quarter turn, half turn, and then to get the orientation, if you can see there's a spring in there, get the orientation right, and if you push in you can rotate the needle all the way around because it brings it away from the seat. But no matter what happens when you make an adjustment, at the end of the day, that metering rod needs to be flat, and this is the engine side, and it needs to be 90 degrees, I guess what's it called, perpendicular to that edge. So that's the main metering circuit. Back over to my bike, because this is a Billetron, which is an improved version. So what they've got here, if I can get the camera in the right place, is I've got the quick fit kit. You see those old thumb screws. So just slackening off that band, I can rotate the carb to one side and pull the slide out. Now mine has it's a little tight. You have to have the spring in an S-bend to get it out. But all the adjustments are from either the slide or this power jet circuit, which you can see is down in here. And see, one thing you'll probably notice, this is a totally translucent fuel bowl, whereas the old style was opaque. So over on this side, they've done some improvements here. Let's see if I can zoom in. Got a large thumb screw, that's your idle speed adjustment, and under here, see in there, there's another large knurled screw. That is the power jet adjustment. That's the choke, and there's no jet of the float bowl, so there's no need to take the float bowl off, pull the carb off, you just leave it alone. The beauty of this carb is, and this is my personal feedback, is that when you get the carb from Lectron, this carb was actually spec'd for an IT 490 Yamaha. But in speaking to the person I bought it from over here, which is Suzuki Spares, it's a really big drag race, a performance Suzuki parts importer from the States, he said it'll be right in the range, just adjust what I've got. Now I can honestly tell you, I put the carb on out of the box. What you're supposed to do, and I'm talking about Lectron original, not the Chinese, is the slide comes set. Let's put this back on the stand here. The slide, put that in, right way. That tiny gap in the bottom there, let's use this metering rod, that bottom there, that is set For smaller bikes, it's preset at 2mm, and for 500cc bikes, it'll still come set for 2mm, but you can go up to 2.5mm gap. And the easiest way to set that, if it's been adjusted, is to use an Allen key as a specific Allen key diameter, i.e. 2mm 2.5 as your guide for setting this idle speed. And when they come, which is what I did with mine, obviously it was set at 2mm. I left it alone at 2mm and started a bike and put it on the bike, out of the box, straight out of the box. And the whole idea is your initial adjustments on the metering rod, i.e. what other people call the needle on the slide, is that the bike, when it's fully operational temperature, will have an idle speed close to, let's assume off-road competition bike, it's not going to idle at 1000 RPM. It's probably going to be closer to 1500, 1200, some might even be 1800. But the thing is to get an idle speed without significant adjustments on that idle speed screw. So I put this carb on, and it started with third kick, and I wasn't expecting to burst into life. Here's a video. I rode it down the road and came back on it, and I had to give it about 1.5 turns on that idle speed to make it idle. So that proved it was rich, because it needed more air to compensate for the fuel that was being drawn up into the fuel float bowl. So on the following day, I thought, well, it's definitely, I'll go half a turn. A quarter turn is quite a big adjustment. You can do eighth of an inch of a turn, eighth rotation turn, that is. And I gave it half a turn, and it was dramatically better. Again, I set the throttle gap at 2mm, and you need to increase it. And on the third day, I thought I'd just give it a quarter turn. So now I'm at 3/4 turns. And that's where I am now. I've actually lowered the needle, the metering rod, down 3/4 of a turn. And it was just idling. I rode it around and got it up to full temperature, and then started riding it 0 to half throttle through different load ranges, different gears, to see if it was clean. And I decided then, looking at plug chop, that it was still a little bit on the rich side, so I gave it another 1/4 of a turn. So now I'm 1 full turn lower on the metering rod than as it came from the box. And at that point, I have the idle screw at a 2.5mm gap. So it's at right in the range of where they say a 500 should be. It's running super clean, doesn't load up, can vary the throttle, can idle it, get back on the throttle, does not load up. It is very, very clean. Did a plug chop on it, and I would still say it could go a bit leaner, but I thought for the time being, just leave it there because it's a safety net. I then looked at the high-speed circuit, which on the old version is a screw on the power jet. On this new Billetron, the screw is at 90 degrees, so it's easier to get to, because obviously here, that would be a problem unless you can get your fingers on it. And I've only given it 1/8 of a turn leaner. And I've ridden this bike 4 times in that time. I only can get up to 4th gear because I'm on an industrial state. But this was a totally clean pipe, and you can see the colour start to change on there. What I can tell you is it really comes alive when you get that jetting just really close to ideal. It can definitely go leaner steel, but at this stage I'm going to play it safe because I'm going to buy a PS, I think it's it's a PS6 EGT, and the probe will go in the exhaust pipe within 4 inches or 100 mil from the piston skirt face. And I'll have it mounted on the bars. I'll have to have a little tiny 12 volt lithium battery pack because it, obviously it needs a battery power, and there's nothing on this bike. But with EGTs, 650 degrees C is considered maximum safe EGT, exhaust gas temperature range. And it'll be interesting to see where this bike comes in, where I have it right now, as the EGT will have a record on it, so it records the highest level, so I don't have to worry about trying to ride the bike and look at the gauge to see what it's telling me. I'll be able to focus on riding the bike, and then once I've done the quick power test on it, I can then review its record on the EGT. But honestly, this is my second bike with Lectron. First one was a KX500, quite a long time ago. That would have been pre-H series, would have looked pretty much the same as this, but I believe the slide was a little different on those older ones. And I had a 44 on that, and be honest with you, I don't think I ever adjusted it. I think I put it on the bike out of the box. I had other issues, so I just used it. But I know now that there was a lot of missing performance from not looking at the jetting. I know at the time, back then, we're talking a long time ago, the plug was in the right range, but obviously I didn't optimize it, and I can tell from this animal that this bike is really, really carbureting. It's phenomenal. I mean, you think it's fuel injection. It starts easily, and there's another nice feature on these, is there's a little drain screw on these that's not on the old one. So although there's not a spill pipe on there, I can empty the fuel from that carb. Because one of the things I found, if you transport the bike with the carb full of fuel, and you go driving down the roads and taking left and right hand turns, that fuel ends up flooding the crankcases because it will just spill in the engine. And I went to start it, fouled the plug, kept on fouling the plug. When it finally did fire up, it was all blubbery and pouring out a lot of blue smoke from all the excess fuel oil that got on the crankcases. So lesson learned, when I shut this bike off, I'm shutting the fuel off, running it down, or even running it to, it stopped running when it got to that level. It spluttered and died on me. Before this goes back in the van for transport, I'm draining that fuel bowl down, and that way when I turn the tap on, I've only got fresh fuel in there, and I haven't pre-flooded the engine, because this bike starts so well with the right technique and learning by mistakes that putting a bike in a van and driving around will flood your engine. So that's it for now, but watch the video again. This was out the box, and the next video will be me starting it and riding it down the road doing a power.